Hey everyone, you know how much we all love to get to the heart of things quickly, right?
Hmm.
Especially when we're talking about those ideas that could really have a big impact in our lives.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's exactly why today we're going deep, deep, deep into the 5 by 55 manifestation method.
Ooh, manifestation. Sounds intriguing already.
It is. We've got some really interesting material here outlining this technique, and it promises some pretty amazing results. Like really amazing, actually.
Okay, I'm definitely interested now. Spill the beans. What kind of results are we talking?
Get this. Our source actually says that this method can help you attract anything you want.
Anything.
That's what it says. And get this in just 5 days.
5 days. Wow. Okay, you definitely have my attention.
I know, right? It's definitely attention grabbing. And that's precisely why we are taking a deep dive into it today together.
Awesome. So where do we start?
Well, I think our mission for this deep dive is to really, truly understand what this 5 by 55 method is all about.
Makes sense.
We're going to look at why people who are into this stuff believe it works, you know, based on what our source tells us, of
Yeah,
course.
gotta stick to the source.
Exactly. We'll break down the steps involved so we can really get a handle on it.
Sounds good.
And of course, we got to look out for you. So we'll also identify any potential snags or pitfalls, anything that our source points out that we should be aware of.
Love the honesty and transparency.
You know how we do it.
Yeah.
So it's like we're putting this whole 5-day manifestation claim under the microscope,
Yeah.
using all the info we have right here. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is this 5 by 55 method according to the material we have?
All right, so the source presents the 5 by 55 method as a technique grounded in the law of attraction. Basically, it's a way to combine the power of affirmations with lots and lots of repetition.
So it's not some kind of crazy ritual or something I need to buy a bunch of crystals for.
Nah, nope, nothing like that.
Yeah.
The core idea is actually pretty straightforward. You pick one specific affirmation, right? And then you write it down 55 times every day for 5 days in a row.
55 times every day for 5 days straight.
Wow.
Okay, that's a commitment. But it's not just the number of times you write it, really. It's got to be more to it than that.
You got it. That's a really important point. Our source is very clear about that. It's not just about mindlessly writing something over and over again. It's about the feeling, the emotional connection you have to the words as you're writing them.
So really feeling it like it's already happening.
Exactly. You have to
Huh.
tune into how it would feel if your desire was already your reality, to really feel that energy.
Okay, so it's not enough to just be like, I am rich, over and over again.
Right. You got to feel it. Like, I am rich. This is awesome. I'm so grateful.
So it's about bringing that feeling to life as you write, not just robotically copying words on a page.
Absolutely. And they even give an example, for someone who wants more financial abundance.
Yeah, what's that?
The example they give is, I am financially free and money flows to me effortlessly.
Okay, so it's present tense, positive, and it focuses on the outcome you want.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the what and the how. But I think a lot of people listening are wondering why people think this actually works. Why would writing something down 55 times for 5 days change anything?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And our source tries to give us some answers, pulling ideas from psychology, the law of attraction, even numerology.
Wow, okay, we are going deep. Let's start with psychology. What's the source's take on how all this repetition might be affecting our brains?
Basically, the source highlights this idea that repetition can rewire your brain, like literally strengthening those neural pathways.
So it's like creating a mental habit.
Yeah, exactly. By focusing on and writing down the affirmation again and again, you're kind of training your subconscious mind to align with that statement.
So you're basically telling your subconscious mind, this is the new normal.
And you know what's crazy? The source mentions that the subconscious mind actually controls something like 95% of our daily actions.
95%. Wow,
Okay.
that's a huge influence.
Right. It's wild. So the idea is that if we can change what our subconscious believes, we can change our lives.
Okay, so repetition could be the key. We keep feeding our subconscious this positive message, and eventually it starts to take over.
And then it starts to influence our actions and decisions, even if we don't realize it.
Okay, so the idea of repetition makes sense,
Yeah.
but the source also brings up the law of attraction and even throws in some quantum physics for good measure.
Oh, yeah. It gets even more interesting.
How does the source connect those dots?
So the 5 by 55 method, according to our source, is really based on the main principle of the law of attraction, like attracts like.
Makes sense so far.
And then it throws in this idea from quantum physics that everything is energy. Thoughts, feelings, everything.
Okay, so my thoughts are energy.
Yep. And the theory is that when you really focus on something, like really concentrate with strong belief and emotion, you shift your vibrational frequency.
My vibrational frequency. Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So you're saying if I focus on something I want, like let's say a new car, with a ton of positive energy,
You start to vibrate at the same frequency as that new car.
and by vibrating at the same frequency.
You attract it into your life.
Okay, so the stronger the emotion, the more I believe it, the more powerful the signal.
Exactly. It's like tuning yourself into the right radio station.
And the right station is the one that's playing my dream life.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm kind of getting it. But what about the numerology stuff? I'm not really familiar with that.
So according to our source, in numerology, the number 5 is all about change and transformation.
Okay, change and transformation. That makes sense.
But 55, that's where things get interesting. It's considered a master number.
Master number sounds powerful.
It is. It's all about new beginnings, huge breakthroughs, big shifts.
Okay, so writing an affirmation 55 times for 5 days is like a supercharged combo for making big changes.
Exactly. It's combining the energy of change with the power of new beginnings.
Okay, so we have the psychology of repetition, the energy of the law of attraction, and the symbolism of numbers all rolled into one. It's a pretty fascinating combination.
It really is.
So if someone is listening to this and thinking, okay, I want to try this, what are the steps they need to take?
Our source actually gives a really clear step-by-step guide. It's pretty easy to follow.
Perfect. Let's go through it step by step.
All right, so step 1 is all about setting a crystal clear intention.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means picking one specific goal that you really, truly desire.
And you have to believe you can achieve it, right?
Right, you got to believe it's possible. So no vague wishy-washy stuff. Be specific.
So like, I want $1 million is too vague.
Maybe. It depends. Why do you want $1 million? What will you do with it? How will it change your life?
Okay, so you need to get really clear on what you want and why you want it.
Exactly.
All right, so you set your intention. What's next?
Step 2 is crafting your affirmation. The source talks about how to make a really powerful one.
And we talked about that a little earlier, right?
Yeah. Present tense, positive emotions, positive phrasing.
Like the I am financially free example.
Exactly. Or they give another example. I am living in my dream home, feeling peaceful and grateful every day.
Okay, so you're really painting a picture with your words.
And you're speaking it as if it's already happening.
Okay, what's step 3?
Time to start writing. This is where the 55 comes in. You write your affirmation 55 times each day for 5 days straight.
Got to put in the work. And there was something about writing by hand, right?
The source recommends using a dedicated journal or notebook and actually writing it out. It says that physical act can make a big difference.
More intentional, less likely to get distracted.
Exactly.
And what's step 4?
Feel the emotion as you write.
Back to the feeling again.
It's key. The source says to really visualize, to engage all your senses.
So it's not just about seeing yourself living in your dream home. It's about smelling the fresh-baked cookies in the oven.
Yes, it's about hearing your kids laughing in the backyard, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face.
You gotta make it real. Okay, and what's the final step?
This one's all about letting go and trusting the process.
Okay, explain that one to me.
After you finish your 5 days of writing, you gotta let go of that intense focus.
So you don't obsess over it.
Nope. No more checking for signs or worrying about how it's gonna happen.
You just trust that it's on its way.
Exactly. You've sent your request out to the universe. Now it's time to relax and let the universe do its thing.
Okay, that's a good reminder. Sometimes we try to control things too much.
Right. Trust is key.
Now, to help us wrap our heads around all of this, our source includes some real-life examples. It's always nice to hear stories about people who have actually used the method successfully.
It's always inspiring, right?
Totally. What kind of success stories does our source share?
Well, the first one is about a woman named Lisa who was trying to manifest a new job. She used the affirmation, I am working at my dream company, earning a great salary. And she got a job offer within a week.
A week? That's fast.
Right. It seems like it really worked for her.
Okay, what's another example?
Another one is about a man named David. He was looking for his soulmate.
And his affirmation was?
I am in a happy, loving relationship with my ideal partner.
Okay, what happened?
Well, he reconnected with someone he already knew.
Someone he knew.
Yeah, and just 2 weeks later, they got engaged.
Oh, wow. Okay, these are pretty amazing stories.
Definitely.
What's the third example?
This last one's about a woman named Sophia who was having money problems.
Money problems, that's never fun.
Right. So she used the affirmation, money flows to me effortlessly.
Good affirmation.
And guess what? Shortly after she finished her 5 days of writing, she got a surprise check in the mail for $5,000.
No way. That's incredible. Okay, these stories are definitely convincing, at least according to our source.
Right.
But of course, it's important to remember that these are just examples from this specific source. We always have to be a bit critical. But they do give us a glimpse into the possibilities. Okay, so what if someone tries this and it doesn't work?
Well, that's why it's so important that our source also talks about potential pitfalls.
Right, because it's not magic.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So what are some of the most common mistakes people make when they're trying to manifest with the 5x55 method?
Well, the first one our source mentions is lack of emotion. You can't just go through the motions of writing the affirmation without actually feeling it.
So you have to really believe it. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to connect with that emotion.
Okay, that makes sense. What's another common mistake?
Doubt and negative energy.
Ah, yes, that pesky inner critic.
Exactly. If you have doubts about whether this will actually work, or if you have negative beliefs about yourself or money or relationships, you're sending out mixed signals.
Like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, so you have to believe it will work. What's the last pitfall?
Failure to let go.
We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, but it's important. You can't obsess over the outcome. You got to let go and trust the process.
Like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it's growing yet.
Uh-huh, exactly. You got to give it time and space to grow.
So it's a delicate balance. You have to be intentional and focused, but then you have to surrender control.
It's a beautiful dance.
Okay, so we've come to the end of our deep dive into the 5x55 method.
And I got to say, this has been a really fascinating exploration.
Totally agree. So to bring it back to the source, they ask a really big question at the end. Does the 5x55 manifestation method really work?
And they give a pretty definitive answer.
What's the verdict?
Yes, if you commit, believe, and take action.
Okay, so it's not a guarantee.
Nope, it's not some magic formula.
You have to put in the work, you have to believe in the process, and you have to take aligned action.
Right. It's about aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
And that last part, taking action, that's interesting. It's not just about sitting around and wishing for things to happen.
It's about creating opportunities. It's about being open to possibilities.
It's about putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I have a question for you, our listener. After hearing all about the potential of this method and considering all the psychological and energetic factors we've discussed,
What are your thoughts?
what resonates with you? What do you find most intriguing about consciously directing your thoughts and emotions to create the life you want?
It's a powerful idea, isn't it?
It really is. And just remember, this is just one perspective, one method. There are so many paths to personal growth and transformation.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing.
And most importantly, keep believing in the power of your own mind to create the life of your dreams.